Hi, it's Alaska Granny. Are you wondering what kind of food you might want to stockpile at Walmart or any other grocery store so that you have some extra food on hand? What are the foods that you should stockpile and why might you want to have them? We could face a weather emergency, a personal emergency, or a financial emergency, and so having some basic extra foods in your pantry can help you get through and face whatever might happen that could be challenging to you. We know that we want to have breakfast, lunch, and dinner every single day. We want to have fresh drinking water. We want to have our basic needs met. We want a roof over our head. We want food in our tummies, and we want to be warm and have our transportation, the things that we need, the basics that keep us going every day. And one way we can help provide that for our family is if we stock up on some basic foods, some everyday foods that are simple, long-lasting, and are easy to prepare. They can come from Walmart, they can come from any grocery store. It doesn't matter which store you shop at. Most of these foods will be available at any of those grocery stores. The important thing is that you stock up on some extra food, put it away carefully, cool, dark, and dry, and store some of the longest lasting foods airtight so that you really get the maximum lifespan out of that food in your pantry. Let's think about just the basics. Where should we start? Let's think about our basic supplies. Flour, and you want to put it in an airtight container. Don't just store it in a paper bag. It can get spilled, it can become stale, it can get full of bugs and cross-contaminated with other things. You want to store it in an airtight container, whether it's a special canister that you purchase, something from a yard sale even, or just something that you've recycled. Make sure if you use a recycled container that it's something that's only ever held food, nothing that's chemicals. Then let's think about sugar. With flour and sugar, there are a lot of things that you can make, and so it's nice to have that. Sugar is a longest lasting food. This can last nearly forever as long as you store it cool, dark, and dry. If you want to store brown sugar, you also want it airtight, but that's because you want to store the moisture in it. You don't want your brown sugar to dry out. You want to keep your white sugar dry and your brown sugar moist. It's crazy, isn't it? Because brown sugar is basically white sugar with molasses added. So if you ever want brown sugar but you don't have any, maybe if you have white sugar and molasses, you can make some of your own. I made a video on how to make brown sugar. I'll put a link to that video so that you can make brown sugar if you need to. Oatmeal is another great food to have in your pantry. You can make oatmeal. You can use it to stretch things like meatloaf. Even if you don't have power, you can prepare oatmeal by making overnight oats. You can even turn oatmeal into oat milk if that's something that you're interested in. You have an allergy or just you need some milk. Oatmeal is very versatile as is, making it into other things. You can even make oatmeal cookies then if you want. But having some of the basic foods that last the longest are really going to help you have versatility in your meals, especially during challenging times. And oatmeal, again, it can last nearly forever, but it needs to be in a cool, dark, dry, airtight container. We're always hearing about rice and beans because they can store the longest, they're inexpensive, and they're very versatile. But once again, you want to store it in an airtight container. White rice lasts far longer than brown rice because brown rice has natural oils in it. So if you want to store brown rice, you can go ahead and have it, of course, but you need to make sure that you're rotating through it much faster than your white rice. Don't stock up on more than you can eat in a year or two, and then make sure that you're using it, not just putting it away for long term, because you would be sorely disappointed if you were hungry and you went to your pantry and your brown rice is rancid. That's not going to be a good use of your dollars or your food storage space. You want to store foods that actually you can be using them when you need to. Beans are great. They come in all different varieties. Choose the flavors that you want. You can buy one great big bag of, say, pinto beans, or buy several bags of assorted beans, but store them airtight as well. Beans can last nearly forever. You can also pick up options like split peas and lentils. Those cook faster than regular beans. It's so simple to rinse dry beans, put them into your crock pot, cover them with water, maybe add a few spices, plug it in and let them cook, and you can have your beans. They're very inexpensive, simple to prepare, and 1 pound of dry beans is actually equal to about 3.5 cans of canned beans. Canned beans are great because you can just open them and use them, but if you're really in a pinch financially, try using those dried beans, but you need water and time to prepare those. When you're putting away your dry foods, you might want to consider putting a bay leaf in with them, which can help repel bugs. That's just a simple thing to do. They've done since pioneer days. You can pick up a bag of bay leaves in the spice section. You can also crumble up a bay leaf and put it around in your pantry. It can help avoid pantry bugs. Then if you're hungry and you want to do a little bit of cooking and you don't want to think about it very hard, you want to reach into your pantry for some pasta. But if you want to store pasta, don't just leave it in the box, put it into an airtight container. But if you're going to be using it soon, it's simple to pick up some sauce. Then you can just boil your pasta, add your sauce. Sauces come in different varieties. Maybe you want to look for some Alfredo, different types, or even think of some that you can make yourself with things like cream of chicken or whatever soups. There's all different ways that you can top your pasta. Pick up some basic olive oil or the oils that you use because they're simple to use in a lot of recipes. Even if you have some fresh vegetables, you can cut them up, sprinkle them with olive oil, add a few seasonings and spices, grill them or bake them, roast them in the oven. There's a lot of reasons to have some of these basic foods because you can really then turn just something into a meal. Let's think about also easy to prepare items. Boxes of macaroni and cheese, Knorr sides, pastaroni. There's all kinds of rice and pasta sides that you can pick up that just require basically some water, maybe a little milk or butter or something, and then you can make a quick and easy meal. You have a side dish if you have something else. Also think about open and eat cans of food, that they're already a full meal. Things like chili. Find the soups that you like that are your favorites. Look at things like ravioli, beefaroni. There's all different kinds of meals in a can. They're basically cheap and expensive MREs. You don't have to buy a military MRE. You can pick up a meal ready to eat in a can, and then you have it right there in your pantry whenever you're hungry. You can grab out a can and you have something to eat. There are a lot of ways to combine canned beans and canned tomatoes. You can make all kinds of different kinds of meals with that. Things like chili, soups, stews. So having a variety of some basic foods helps you get a meal on the table, which is something that we all want to be able to do on a daily basis. Then let's think about canned fruits and vegetables. They're very versatile. You just open them, they're ready to eat. You might want to have them fresh out of your garden or from a farmer's market, but you may not always have that available to you. They could be out of season. You could have a winter storm. There's no farmer's market then, and maybe things can't get through to the store. It's not the right time of year to be growing things, and maybe you have some in your freezer, but what happens if the power goes out? So if you have some canned things available, you just need to open and eat them. And it's comforting to know that you have some easy food in your pantry. Pay attention to the dates on your canned food, especially things like fruit, because I have had problems with cans of fruit that they explode or they leak or they're not suitable to eat anymore. So keep track of the dates on your food and make sure that you're rotating them. That's why you want to buy food that you're willing to eat. Buy foods that you like, you're willing to eat. You know how to make a meal out of it so that you're working your way through your pantry. It should be a working pantry. You're making meals with it. Use, rotate, and replace so that you continue to have enough food. If you don't have a lot of food in your pantry now, it might be a goal to add a few extra things whenever you go to the store. Make one big haul if you can afford it, but keep adding to it. But then don't just stash it away forever. You want to buy foods that you're willing to eat, use, rotate, replace. That's how you become a successful prepper and your pantry is really working for you. Canned meats are very versatile and they're probably the longest lasting canned foods. So I like to have canned meat. They can come in a bigger size like this. Some of them, like a ham, is even larger, or you can get smaller cans. So depending on the size of your family and the meals you want to make, Try to have a variety of different sizes of cans, different types of meat, and then also be sure you know what you're going to do with them. For example, this is the Walmart pulled pork. It's great just making it into a sandwich. Something else I like to do with it is I combine it with some Alfredo sauce and some pasta, and I made a pulled pork Alfredo. I'll put a link to that video. It's so simple and it was actually really delicious. So there are different unusual ways to put your foods together. You just have to either think about it, be creative, try new things. You may find a hit, and if it's a miss, just don't do it again. That's how I go through my foods. If I try things and I like it, I might try it again. And if it isn't the best, oh well, we still had a meal on the table. Every meal can't be your favorite, or you'd never really know what you enjoyed. If everything was your favorite, then everything is just average. So yeah, keep experimenting so that you can find the things that are just okay, and then the things that you really enjoy. So that's something you should do also. If you find a favorite, put it in the comments below so that we don't have to experiment with everything. We can learn from each other. That's how we build our prepper community, by being there for each other, supportive, and we leave those comments for each other so that we can communicate and keep that open line of how we can learn from each other. We don't want to be out there all alone. It's nice to know that even though we're not together in person, that we have camaraderie and the comments that we leave to help each other. Let us know also, what foods are you buying? What are you stockpiling? What foods have you found that have become ridiculously more expensive? And maybe what did you substitute instead? So these are my basic foods that you could get at Walmart or any other store. I hope you'll like my video, share it. Please subscribe to the Alaska Granny channel.